Is this in fact the Rolls-Royce of minivans? We will find out in today's video. I'll include a link to the Stockton 12 Honda's website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed. Fuel economy is 19 around town, 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 280 horsepower and then 262 pound-feet of torque. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. Now when it comes to the hood, you've got some body lines there, but nothing crazy happening. Pretty sleek looking headlight design, and that leads into a completely blacked out grille other than the Honda badge. Got a little turn signal indicators down below with some fog lights, and all together it's got that kind of egg-shaped minivan look. Tire wheel setup is 235 by 55 by 19. You got silver there on the top, and then the center of the wheel is all blacked out. Two-tone mirror with the black stem, then you got some chrome trim here around the windows or the bottom section. And with the fancy trim and the fancy wheels, this looks a bit more upscale. When it comes to the key fob, we've got the Honda logo there on the back. On the front, we've got our lock and unlock function, the opening for the power doors, remote start, and then the opening for the hatch. Now you'll note with the third row folded down, you actually have quite a bit of space, and it's a relatively flat load floor. You also get these little cubbies here on either side for more space. When it comes to third row features, we have a sunshade back there. We also have ventilation. We've got cup holders and USB ports. Getting the seats back out is really easy. You just lift this handle up. I can't do it with one hand, but you just lift it up and throw the seat back up. I lied. I just did it with one hand. It's just hard to do it with one hand and have the camera focused on it. Pretty interesting taillight design there, and of course your Elite badge. And that about sums things up for the exterior of the Odyssey. So let's pop inside. Man, that is a fancy seat for a minivan, as you can see. And you'll notice that we've got all of our adjustments there nicely labeled on the side. Legroom in the second row is good. We also have a little storage pocket, and we've got this button on the side to close the door. In the center, some cup holders with USB ports. We've got cup holders on the back of this, but this also pulls up to be a bench seat in this one. This one comes with the little TV in the back, which is always nice to have for kids. And then your climate controls are just there on the right hand side. Although this is a little bit tighter, I do fit back here on the third row. And there's keyless entry up front. The front door panel has nice soft touch trim, some piano black trim too. We have blind spot monitoring with the mirrors, memory seats. The mirrors also power fold in. More nice trim here on the front seat, again perforated all down the center. You also have your power adjustments and lumbar support on the side. You can turn off the power doors if you want. You also have your parking sensors built into here, the opening for the hatch, stability control too. This is random, but the carpets in the Honda look pretty nice. Start her up. Soft touch trim all around the steering wheel, of course, Honda logo in the center. We've got controls for the adaptive cruise control, heated steering wheel button on the right hand side. On the left hand side, volume, voice command controls, controls for the center stack in general. Regular stalks as well as paddle shifters here on the back of the steering wheel. I've got a digital gauge cluster just like other modern Hondas, and you can change what information is displayed with the gauge cluster itself. Just a backup camera in reverse. Overall resolution's pretty good. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, little shortcut bar there on the side with the volume control. Pretty quick response time with the screen itself. And it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. They give you this fancy trim all across the dash. Speaking of fancy trim, look at that. Anyways, we got physical buttons for the climate controls, tri-zone climate with this. It also comes with heated and ventilated seats. You've got buttons for the auto stop start, your snow mode, econ mode. Yes, it is buttons for the whole transmission select. More USBs and charging ports down below, and then just tons of storage up front. Cup holders, got a wireless phone charging pad, and then we've got even more storage underneath this little setup. Sunglass holder up top, and then we do have a sunroof for the front. Now, being Elite doesn't come cheap. This sticker's for $53,085. Let's see how this minivan performs. Well, let us set off in the Odyssey. And by the way, this is not snow. This is, it's starting to melt, but it's hail. We don't get hail too often in Utah, but every so often. Glad we don't get the Colorado hail. That's the stuff that's nasty. But let's see how the Rolls-Royce of Hondas, or rather of minivans almost in a way, performs. What I will say right off the bat, seats are pretty comfortable. They're a little bit firmer, but I'd say overall comfort's pretty good with the seats. And I do like the kind of material use they have throughout here. It's stuff that has like a nice durable feel to it. Not necessarily the most premium, but has a kind of nice, like I said, more durable feel to it overall. And we should finally be able to get up and move here, see how this V6 feels. This and the Pacifica and the Carnival will have V6s. But the main competitor to this, the Sienna, does not have a V6. It only has a hybrid 4-cylinder. But it does have all-wheel drive, whereas this is still just front-wheel drive. Yeah, ride quality's pretty good. Handles pretty well too. Steering's very light. The thing I like about minivans is they have such a long wheelbase, but they're also pretty low to the ground. And so they actually corner really flat because of that. If you don't know, if you're going around a corner at a, I'm not talking about like super high speed, but at a higher speed, then what is that all about? Anyways, if you're going at a corner at a slightly higher speed, longer wheelbase actually give you more stability and make it feel better. And so I think that's part of the reason why people drive like maniacs like in minivans, because they actually handle pretty well, surprisingly. Now, other than that, I think the overall insulation's pretty solid in this. I mean, I do hear a bit, but it's not bad by any means. Good torque. You gotta love the V6 response and the, it might not sound like under the hood, it might not sound the smoothest, but like the actual acceleration feels really smooth. It's definitely a nice pairing what they've got going on here. Yeah, and going over the little manhole covers is nice. It's, again, it gives me kind of another idea of just like the suspension over little things. It does pretty well, all things considered. So, in summary, with the, man, this hail is, it's obviously raining now, but the hail that's left on the windshield, I probably should have cleared it off before we took it out and drove it. My laziness has caused problems. That never happens. Laziness never causes problems, guys. It's not like we're seeing that unfold in real time. Oh, here we go. Here's more. So, I think this is comfortable. I think it drives well. I think the biggest benefit of this over the Toyota is obviously V6. You don't get all-wheel drive, but if you have a good set of snow tires, you don't really need all-wheel drive, especially with the minivan. So, I think all around it's really nice. It really is the Rolls-Royce of Hondas. It's one of the nicest minivans you can get. So if you're open to front-wheel drive, I think the Odyssey's worth looking at because of the features that it provides and you know, Honda reliability. So let me know your thoughts.